bring him up here, and it's my pleasure to introduce Professor Nguyen from Cal State Dumkins Hills, and he is the moderator for the Q&A tonight.
All right, thank you so much. If I can also bring up the folks from the representatives of the different shorts and whatnot, you guys can come up. Come on up. All right, I'm going to ask each of you guys to introduce yourself real quick. Go for it.
Hi, I'm Ngọc Lê. I worked on Little Bird as one of the actors and also casting director.
Hello, I'm Nguyen. I am the writer and director of We Used to Take the Long Way Home.
Hi, I'm Tiffany Vu. I'm the writer-director of Surrender.
All right, so then the sort of structure of the Q&A, we're just gonna do a 15 minutes of my questions, and then we'll give it up to the audience and whatnot. I guess just to start off, I'm really interested in your titles. I know you're an actress, so then I'll ask you a different set of questions. But then for the directors and writers, I was wondering if you guys can talk a little bit about why you chose the titles as you did.
I could share the title.
Oh, you also share the title.
I asked the director to
okay.
make sure.
All right, awesome. Yes, I'm very interested in the titles. Why do you choose the titles as they are, and what's the significance behind it? So yeah, we just start with that.
Cool. So for Little Bird, according to Annie, she picked Little Bird because it represents freedom. Even though the little girl in the story represents the little bird because she's young, and even though there are so many things that are happening around her, she still, look at the world in a very positive way through her lens. And the other character played by Chantel, she's an adult, but she's, she has responsibilities. She has all these conflicts that she's going through. However, she's also craving that type of freedom. And also, Annie was telling me that her name means bird in Vietnamese. So, yeah, double meaning. Yeah.
Well, for my film, I really want, it was a coming of age film, and I feel like memories was a big part of this, and the whole movie is kind of like from the perspective of someone that have grown up and looking back from the other side. So I feel like We Used to Take the Long Way Home really captured the feeling of, when we were young, we used to be able to like do X, Y, and Z thing, but also it's also a road movie, and I feel like I grew up in Vietnam, and being a teenager in Vietnam, it's just kind of like being on the road a lot, and just like you just want to get out there and just kind of go around, have fun with your friends. So I feel like just want to capture a nostalgic feeling.
Yeah, so the idea of the film first came to me with the very last scene. So I think the word surrender really encapsulated that scene, and the idea of kind of surrendering to your reality and putting down your walls and just being present in the moment and doing what you can with that.
Yeah, excellent interpretation. Is really interesting. If you could, can you talk a little bit about, I guess, for the directors, your production process, and for the actress, what was it like, or at least why do you choose to make the film that you did, right? Why do you choose to participate in production of these films? What kind of themes did you want to articulate? What kind of things do you want to convey in terms of messaging and whatnot in the film? So yeah.
Thank you for the question. For me, I really love working on stories that are based on real stories. So the story that inspired me to write this was real. This happened, and the character Debbie Wei inspired the character Debbie in our short film. And so when this project came to me, I feel like it was an honor for me to participate, to tell these stories of real peoples who went through this and are still going through this today. So that's why I gravitate towards it. And as an actor, I just think it's such a beautiful story, and for me to play the character Deep, I pull a lot from my personal life, from the stories that I've heard from my grandma and my family members that came over in the 80s. So, yeah.
So I was inspired to make this film partially because, well, I'm an immigrant, so I was just like thinking about my childhood and whatnot, and I was looking through my personal archives, all my video, my picture of me and my friend having fun, and I was like, okay, and I was just inspired to write about it. And also, I feel like this story is very universal, the feeling of like growing up and growing apart and kind of like changing, and you and your friend, all of you going down a different path in life, with this like bittersweet feeling, but you know, you always be there for each other. So just kind of like this threshold between like adolescent and adulthood is interesting for me.
Yeah, so this film was a requirement for me to graduate, so let's just put that bit out there. This is my senior thesis. It was partially inspired by both of my grandmas, so it's kind of a mod podge of both their stories, and I really wanted to explore the themes of sacrificial love and what that means and how that can look like, which I think hasn't really been seen in family dramas.
Yeah, okay, my last question, all right. Place is a crucial aspect of all these films. The LA slums, the hospital, the hometown, or the countryside, right? So then, I was wondering if you, chose these locations deliberately in terms of making the film, or if you can speak on maybe perhaps on the part of the director on this. I saw that was very significant, and it was also something that was very diverse in terms of how sort of like these aspects of the past also gets wrapped into sort of like how these settings play out. I was wondering if you guys could talk a little bit about your situating of the film, the setting, the place, and whatnot.
I can go first. Okay. Yeah, so we have kind of like the city, like which is Saigon, which is where I'm from again. I went back to my own neighborhood and I was like, okay, we're doing it here. It's like out of very self-indulgence. And then all the road scene and all the like, for example, the ferry sequence, I really want to have the ferry sequence because I feel like the being suspended between like this water and how the river is such an important symbolism for non-Vietnamese people, and also just being stuck in between time and just like threshold. I'm interested in like the in-between space, and also like since the Row is really important because like I said, it's like about memory looking back, so it's kind of like time traveling in a way. So that's why I pick exclusively like exterior locations. Yeah.
So the hospital is mainly chosen because it was inspired by true stories of both my grandmas who had certain experiences with healthcare and also their hesitancy to go to the doctor. And I think for the second part of the question, I think the aspect of the past really comes from the actors that I got to work with and them putting that subtext into the script. We talked a lot about motherhood and how that is in this because I'm not a mom. And they talked a lot about, sorry, it's really late. They brought in a lot of aspects of how when they read the script, the first thing they thought of is they're both kind of chasing the sense of their past relationship and what that looked like before this illness. And I think that last moment was kind of really when their relationship was brought back to quote unquote normal. So I had to give that all the credits to my actors for that aspect.
For Little Bird, it's like you said, so this story was inspired by real stories that were on the news that happened in the 1980s. And I know Onni and the production team worked really hard to make sure they find a location that would fit, you know, as close as possible to what they've read and saw through archives. And I remember like after we finished like a callback session and she had another meeting with the production team, and I remember seeing how they all came in with a lot of photos. And even when I first, you know, started working on this project, we were looking at a lot of news articles that she shared with the team. So I just feel like they did such a good job. One of our background actor was telling us how the way the team recreated the locations reminded him of how it was like for him when he first came to US and he went through all of this in real life. I think he was like 10, so he was saying how like just like looking at the ceilings and see the mold, everything. He was like, thank you so much for making this, and thank you for bringing me on to be part of this, and looking back, you know, into my memory in a way. So I feel like we did the best we could, in telling this story.
I mean, absolutely, and I think aspect of it actually is very historically accurate, because the first places in which Vietnamese refugees actually relocated was not here in Orange County, it was actually up there in Los Angeles. The economic downturn at that time very well captured and whatnot. But we'll open up the floor to the audience. If anyone have any questions, comments about the film, the shorts.
I got a question. Thank you. My name is Kyle Pham. I have a question for all of you. What is one thing that you take away from the film that you know just worked for you, and you're going to apply it to the next project after that?
For this project, I worked exclusively with non-actor, and I feel like I was like on the road hanging out with them, and I feel like because they're all real friends in real life, so the chemistry really showing through. And going forward in the future, even though like let's say I'm doing it like another ensemble piece, and even if I cast professional actor, I think the group dynamic, the chemistry is like really, it should be very authentic, and I feel like authenticity will shine through in the movie.
Yeah, I feel like when you watch a film like 100 times, there's probably many things you would change about it. And this is my senior thesis, so it's my very first film, but I think the thing I take away from it is the vulnerability and emotion that you can convey through the film, no matter the production of your film, resonates with people. Because I think the very last scene we filmed, the temple scene, no one in my crew spoke Korean. I don't speak Korean, so I was the only one that kind of really understood the dialogue, truly. But after we did the first take of it, I kind of looked around and everyone was crying. And I think it was just a really beautiful moment that this rawness and vulnerability does transcend language, and I think that's an experience I'll take away forever.
For me, I'll speak as casting director first. This project required me to cast Vietnamese characters that speak fluent Vietnamese, kids that speak Vietnamese, and also Hispanic actors as well. So for me, what I learned from this is whenever I have a project like this, continue to really go through every possible outlets to find the right people. I had one background that I just remember from like back 10 years ago when I saw her YouTube channel. So I actually reached out to her and asked her about her daughter, and also asked her if they were interested in auditioning or participating in the project. And then we had other background actors that kind of just came through different outlets, like not conventional ways of casting, more like street casting in a way. And I don't know, it just fulfilled my heart a lot as an artist and casting director to see all these people all want to be part of something bigger than themselves. And it speaks in the movie, we flew someone, someone actually flew in to participate and volunteer their time to be one of the grandmas too. And I think she literally just saw like an ad online and she applied, and I had no idea they were flying in from another state until like the week off. And she was just so happy to be there. And also thank you to Viet Film Fest, because I think that was also how we linked together, through just like following each other on Instagram as well. So shout out to Viet Film Festival. And then I guess as an actor, one thing I can take away as an actor is the more I do research on the character and also the history part of it, if it's tied to a history, I feel like the more natural and organic it will come out. And also I will do, it's justice for the character. Especially this is something that is very true to so many people. I remember during, I think yesterday, one of the, during like the student screening, I remember sharing about how, I'm blanking out. Yeah, they were asking really good questions, and I remember telling them what I had to do as an actor, because me and the uncle, we were arguing about if we should fight or not, and they were asking why did you choose to, as your character, to not move forward, to not fight, to not rock the boat. And I was telling them it's because if this happened to me, and if I went through all the sacrifices I had to do, leave my family behind, go through the boat experience, I don't think I would want to. I think I would be so appreciative just to have a roof over my head. I don't think I would have fought and ruined the chance of having a house to stay with my family that came with me. So that was something that I had to find within myself to bring to the character. And so shout out to the students that were asking about that. Thank you.
Sorry, that was a very long answer.
No worries. Do we have any other questions? Any comments? Queries? Quagmires? All right, so well, I mean, I guess we can wrap this up, but then, folks, I'm pretty sure the directors and the actress will be happy to, you guys come up and say hi. That works too. But then we'll wrap this up. But thank you so much for a very amazing set of films. I was very impressed, and I think it holds a lot of significance. It actually causes me to think about a lot of questions. Right, some of the themes, because a lot of these themes are not often explored in Vietnamese cinema. Housing issues, big issue going on. This idea of return, but a different type of return in your film, and also I saw reflections of my relationship with my mom through a whole different language, right, Korean. Really amazing stuff. Thank you guys. All right, please give my hands. There you go. Now applause to you.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Yi. He actually was one of the 3 curators of the Film Fest last year. So he watched over 100 films last year, and we're so glad that you came back and help us with the Q&As this year. Thank you so much, and please come back for